you start getting into that thing. You start getting in gang fights. You start getting caught up in like, maybe fast forward a little bit even further, and now I'm in like the late teens, and you get into like where people are getting rushed, people are getting stabbed, people are getting shot at. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this, and you don't know this because I don't even, like, I'm a conservative type of guy. I'm a humble type of person. I mean, but when I was 17 years old, and obviously I was living that lifestyle, I got shot, and I got hit. Luckily, it hit me in the shoulder, ricocheted up, went up the side, and went wherever. And then the second one, I got shot twice, hit me just across the head, grazed across the head. That was 1999. Wow. I was 17 years old.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Gov and welcome to another episode of the Property Newbie podcast. On this week's show, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Benjamin Brown, a construction site manager from Wolverhampton turned property investor. This podcast for me was probably one of the most humbling experiences that I've had on the show. We went right back to Benjamin's past, and we spoke about what he was like in his teenage years and the crimes that he used to be involved in and the gangs that he used to be involved in, and all the way up to the point where he got involved in a situation where his life literally flashed before his eyes. What I find most heartwarming about this story is the fact that he did a complete 360 on that life. He decided to get an apprenticeship and then work his way through university as well to become degree educated. And not only has he got an education, but he's now got his eyes set on property and other business ventures, as well as being a loving family man as well. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for more videos like this. And if you want to listen to the podcast on the go, we're available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, the links for which are all in the description below. But enough about that. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So we are live in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Benjamin Brown, welcome to the show, my bro.
Yes, Governor, man. Happy to be here, bro, man.
Bro, I haven't seen you since like March. I've missed you, man.
I know. That was the event, wasn't it?
It was the event. Yeah. I remember, bro.
Epic.
Bro, I think your live won the prize in the end, innit? Because we did you did like one of the best lives on the day as well.
Yeah.
But it was just a mad day, man. But it was wicked catching up with you, and obviously with everything that's going on right now, haven't had a chance to like catch up, man. It's a long time overdue, man. How have you been, bro? Tell me that. How have you been?
Been good, man. Obviously, we've all had lockdowns, so we've all been going through this similar type of things. But lockdown's probably different for me, being in a big family. Yeah. Obviously, there's me, my wife, 5 children.
I don't know how you do it, bro.
So you didn't say 5, everyone's like, 5? But like, it's 5 children, there's only 3 pregnancies because there's 2 sets of twins.
Wow.
So you got the older twins are 13, twin boys. Then the girl in the middle is 8, and then the babies are 2, the twin girls are 2.
So they're still quite young as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're doing that. You get furloughed off work thinking that, yo, I'm chilling now. I got a bit of time off work. And then you're like, yo, I got the kids running around and you're at home.
It's funny you should say that, actually, because when I got furloughed off work, like everyone probably who's entrepreneurial type thinking, I'm like, man, you should have seen my to-do list, bro. It was like pages, 3 pages long. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to work on the business, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to master this, I'm going to read 4 books a day. I mean, it was mad, bro.
You get all this spare time that you never had before, and you're like, yo, I want to do everything. Yeah, man.
I think I said in the group, I don't know if it was WhatsApp or Facebook, but what started to happen was I started to, what did they say? Like, you become a master, what is it?
Or like a jack of all trades and master
of none.
Yeah.
So I was doing everything, but I was only doing little bits.
Yeah.
Doing a bit of that here and working on a little bit of that there, a little bit of that. I wasn't really getting anywhere. And luckily my wife, she backs me to the tee, but she's also the one who brings me down and puts me on that level.
Yeah.
She's like, it feels like you've left work, you're not going to all these events, the events, you're not on the seminars as such, because nobody had moved online straight away.
Yeah.
But it's like you've replaced that with this massive to-do list, so we're still not getting, you're still not giving the family the time. So that was a big turning point for me. So that's where I said, actually, you know what, she's right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're at work and you're trying to run the businesses and you're trying to make things happen, we all say we ain't got no time. It's a lack of time to spend with the family, which is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, actually, you're right. So I kind of just sacked off everything for a while, and then just use that time to experience the things that I was missing out with.
Yeah.
I mean, even like little things like playing in the garden with the kids and all that kind of thing, watching films, playing board games.
It's really weird, isn't it? Because when you're at work, that's the one thing you probably crave for. Like, if it's not family, it's like, I want to spend more time with my friends. I want to go out more. I want to do this. Yeah. All of a sudden, everyone got hit with all this time. Yeah. And the first thing you think of is, right, I really wanted to focus on my business. I couldn't when I was at work. I really wanted to focus on my family. And then instead, you want to focus on everything. And you can't do anything of anything. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that you spent a bit of time with your family, probably, like, I know you work stupidly hard as well, man. So incredibly
that was the main thing for me, man. That's why when people ask me how was lockdown, I say it was good. Yeah. It was good. Because like I said, once my wife made me realise that, then I was actually, that's one of the main reasons why I'm trying to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. To be able to have the time and the freedom to spend the time with the family. Yeah. So there's no point me getting this opportunity, because I see lockdown as an opportunity. It was an opportunity. No point in getting this opportunity to have time with the family, to then replace it with this massive to-do list and not have no time with them.
It's true. So, you probably don't want to admit too much that your wife is right, because that's gonna she's gonna hold that against you for a long time, man. She's gonna be playing this little clip on repeat every time you argue with her. But bro, as always, man, I appreciate you taking a bit of time out of your busy schedule. We got a lot to get through today, because although you've had a bit of time off, you haven't wasted that time. So I can't wait for everyone to hear what you've been up to, man. Sharing some of that. But as with everyone and as with every guest, man, I like to take it all the way back to the beginning, man. Get to know a young Benjamin Brown growing up. I can see you by that smile. You were trouble, bro. Tell me a little bit about you growing up, man, and give these guys a little bit of an insight as to what you were like, man, in your younger years, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, the young Benjamin Brown is nothing like the Benjamin Brown today, to be honest. It's a big contrast. As I say, you spin it around 360. Well, I like to believe I have, and hopefully people see that. But young Benjamin Brown grew up on the estate. I come from a single parent household growing up, although I had a lot of older cousins and I had aunties and uncles all around me anyway. So the not just your mother, but then you got the older generations. They was all there, nan and granddad and everything. Yeah. So can't really blame it on that as such. But it's just the environment, because as I said, I grew up on the estate. There's my own big family, and then your friends, their families are around. So, and then there's just other people around the estates. And usually what happens on the estates is boredom. Yeah. It's boredom. Like back in the day, which is not there now, there was the odd youth clubs and adventure playgrounds you could go to. But you just start seeing things and doing things with your idle hands and your boredom, and you start getting into a little bit of mischief. Yeah, and then, I don't know, vandalism, antisocial behaviour as they call it now. And then you get bored of that. And because I've always been with older people as well, so they're a little bit more advanced. So like, while my age group is like doing the bus, they go round the circulars on the bus, I'm with the older ones who are in cars and stuff. And so I've always tried to be ahead of the game, as you like to call it. So I'm seeing things, I'm thinking, wow. Like I'm seeing like people wearing designer clothes, jewelry, some people driving cars. I'm like, wow. Obviously, I said before, like, I guess that's why they call TV shows programs. Because it programs the mind. So whatever you see programs the mind. So obviously we're seeing all this. So as growing up, fast forward a few years, you get from the petty crime, as I like to call it, and then you start getting into the more, I don't know, criminal activity. So like, there's people around me like stealing cars. There's people around me like burgling. And then there's people around me who are like selling drugs. Do you know what I mean? So when you fast forward a bit, whoever you're hanging with at the time, then that's the environment you know, and that's the environment you get into. So you dabble in a bit there, you get in a bit of trouble there, you switch over. I was always lucky when I was younger. I never really got into trouble. I never really got caught, as they say. But sometimes that's a bad thing. Because when you don't get caught, then you tend to think you're untouchable.
Yeah.
You know, I see Scarface up there, so you're like, you start to think you're the Don Corleone. You know what I mean? So, fast forward again. Obviously, I'm getting older. The older ones are getting older. As I said, they're in cars. They're wearing designer clothes. They got money in their pocket. They're able to go where they like and buy what they like. So, like, and as I said, it's a single parent family, and like at times, I won't say it's a worse childhood, you know, always fed and stuff, but at times it was a struggle. Do you know what I mean? You can see mum struggling to put shopping in the house and feed me and my brother, although we could go to any aunties and get fed any day of the week. So that was a plus, having everyone around. But yeah, so you start to take these things on, don't you? And like, so I get led. No, not led, because I believe in life, you've always got a choice.
Yeah.
Anything that happens, at some point there was a choice. That's what I say to my kids. At some point, there's a choice, and you've made a choice somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So, led is not the right word. I chose to follow that path. So, I started getting myself into trouble. I started being one of the gangsters on the ends, as they like to say, and I started like dealing drugs. So like, but then you start off on like the smaller ones. I don't know if you can say it, and they're like weed. You start off on them, and then you get into the higher class, the A class drugs, and you start making all this money. I start being able to put shopping in the house. It's nothing to me. I can spend this. I'm driving cars and wearing designers. I've never really been a man who's wanted designers, crazy designers as such. Yeah. I mean, I've got jewelry as well. I don't know if you've ever seen me in jewelry. I've got jewelry that's just in my drawer. Because I use jewelry, to be honest, gold. Maybe it's I've had that entrepreneurial life in mind from when I was little. I use it for anytime I get a bit sticky with money, I just go and pawn it, get some money, take it there, pay it off and get it back. But so I use gold as like an asset. So yeah, obviously with that then becomes this gang life and then the gang warfare, where for some reason it just happens. Like you're from one estate, they're from another estate. They see you doing certain things, getting certain things. I don't know if it's jealousy or envious or whatever, but then you start to recruit enemies. In fact, it happens in life. Like the more successful you get, people say you're not successful unless you got enemies or haters or whatever they like to call it. So there's the same thing in that walk of life as well. So then obviously, being from a big family, I've always been able to defend myself. Yeah. If you can't defend yourself, my family would beat you up and make sure you can defend yourself anyway. So you just start getting into that thing. You start getting in gang fights. You start getting caught up in like, maybe fast forward a little bit even further, and now I'm in like the late teens, and you get into like where people are getting rushed, people are getting stabbed, people are getting shot at. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this, and you don't know this because I don't even, like, I'm a conservative type of guy, I'm a humble type of person. I mean, but when I was 17 years old, and obviously I was living that lifestyle, I got shot and I got hit. Luckily, it hit me in the shoulder, ricocheted up, went up the side and went wherever. And then the second one, I got shot twice, hit me just across the head, grazed across the head. That was 1999. I was 17 years old, and it'll probably be down as Boxing Day, but it was Christmas night. man was out at bluesies and looking to party. And basically, we're there in the car. We see the enemy, as they like to call it, go past. So we're like, oh, what they up to? They look a bit shifty. So we've come behind them now. I'll never forget it to this day, bro. Like, I remember it was like the passenger. I remember because we've gone behind him and flashed the lights, put the high beam on, and then I just remember he turned. His eyes were like just about this wide, bro. I'll never forget it. Obviously, I'm 17 then. I'm playing gangster. I'm not a gangster really. Do you know what I mean? I'm playing gangster. So it's like now all these younger ones now they're playing gangster. Do you know what I mean? They don't understand it, and that's where I was at that particular point. So when I've seen that, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden I just said, wow. So obviously, like I said, I'm playing gangster because I'm in the back of the car, really, because I've just ducked down like that behind the passenger seat. And really, if I was a gangster and I knew all about that type of lifestyle, I would have dived on the back seat or in the footwell of the back. Do you know what I mean? But so I've gone like that now. But whoa, and then I never forget, man, the one that hit me in my shoulder. I remember that sitting there because I'm like holding onto the seat and I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, in the movies where them old westerns they were shooting me, it's blow, there's a massive hole. I'm thinking, oh my God, my shoulder's come off, it's gone. And then the second one hit me. It was quick, but it felt like slow motion, bro. Yeah. Everything felt like a mad slow motion. So that one's hit. I'm like, I thought, oh my God, my shoulder's come off. And then the second one's hit across the head. And I think, oh my God, I got half a, you know, in the movies, half a head. And then I remember I'm there, I'm still in that position. And then it's silent. I feel like I'm floating, but it's loud. I can still hear all the commotion, glass breaking, banging of guns. I can still hear all that. I can hear them shouting in the front. Like, oh, it's been hit. I'm like, but it's crazy because it felt like the most peaceful place I've ever been. So like, I'm there floating. And you know when in the movies as well, and people said it with whatever experience they had, you see your life flash before your eyes. It's true. Yeah. It's true, bro. Because I don't know if I actually was looking up, but I remember like looking up into the sky and it's just bright. Like people might think I'm crazy now, but it's just this bright, shiny light. And like my granddad had passed away. If that was 99, he passed away in 94. So he passed away like 5 years before. And he was a big part of all our lives, get me? All of me and my cousins and like aunties. And it was a big major role in all our lives. And we're looking up, thinking, wow, is that my granddad? And he's just there. But he got a strong Jamaican accent and he stuttered. So I remember that was like the joke when we was all young, when we was all getting told off. I was like, oh, what did he say? Do you know what he said? And like the mischievous ones would tell you something wrong so you get more in trouble. But yeah, I just remember being there. I just remember looking at him and he was waving at me like saying, I was saying now, he was like, oh boy. All I could hear was boy. And he was waving like that. And I remember just looking, what's going on here? And like I said, it just felt like I was floating, bro. So I'm like, huh? Why is my granddad there, like shooing me away, basically? I'm thinking, yo, granddad, I ain't seen you for years, you know what I mean? But he's like shooing me away. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm back. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then like, I could just feel it. It's like a mad burning. Like you're on fire. Feels like your skin's on fire, bro. And just like mad burning. So obviously I rushed hospital and all that stuff. And then like my head's like glued together. My shoulder's like a mad little stitch. If I showed it you now, you'd be thinking, what? You're lying, bro. It's like a little cross type thing. But because it didn't go through, I'm guessing. I don't know. But it just looks like a little type of thing. So if I show people, they think, nah, you're not telling the truth there, but that's part of the story that I've been through, and that's part of the young Benjamin Brown that's been through all those situations. I mean, got big scars on my arm where I've been in big fights and people had knives and that just caught me on my arm. And at the time when I could do that, I could see the inside of my arm just moving, bro. It's absolutely crazy. But what happens is it either goes two ways. Like, you either go in your shell and move completely away from me, or you become an angry young man.
Yeah. So
remember, I'm 17 years old when I got shot. So now I become an angry young man. Now I'm angry at everybody. Do you know what I mean? I'm out for revenge. Do you know what I mean? And all the family and everyone's out for revenge. So that's how it becomes like a vicious cycle, if you like. That's why a lot of people say it will never stop. It's hard to say you can stop it. You can probably get better control over it, and people involved in it can understand more. And I do think there's a part to play for people like myself who've been there, done that, been through it, come out the other side, and realise that lifestyle there just leads to two things. Because either dead, which I was lucky enough not to happen to me at that time, or in jail. You know what I mean? So if you fast forward from 1999 to 2007, through all that period from 1999 to 2007, as I said, I'm now an angry young man. Anything that's going down, I'm there. I'm front line, I'm centre, I'm ready to go. Because I'm angry, I'm still revenge, feeling like, So 2007, and plus, I think this is what happens a lot as well nowadays. Plus, then you get labelled the one who's been shot in the head and still here, survived. Like,
it's a rep now, isn't it?
Yeah, now you're a rep, you got stripes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now everyone's like looking up to you, like, oh yeah, you got shot. What's it like? All them kind of things. Yo, my man's a G. All that kind of stuff. So now you get this rep, and you start running with this rep, and now you got to become this rep. Do you know what I mean? So, but as I was saying now, fast forward to 2007, where obviously now I'm heavily involved in the gangster world, as I'd like to put it. But so 2007 May, I get locked up, and this is what I was saying, where you start to become comfortable. Like, I seen a man in the paper the other day he got a lot of years anyway. I think it was 12. Yeah. But I remember speaking to that same man probably 7 years ago. Wow. And I remember, because he's asking me like, yo, so what you doing, man? You stop, you're not doing nothing on the road now. I said, nah, man, I'm done with that life, bro. That life ain't for me. I'm finished with all that. And he's like, I'm never coming off the road. I said, I know why you're saying that, because he's one of those lucky, well, he was one of those lucky ones who never really got caught. He's just been going through, making his money. He don't really get involved in the gangster side of it, but he's just been going through, making his money, so he starts to feel untouchable. And then that's when you start to make your mistakes, because you get relaxed. In anything, business, whatever, the time you come relaxed is the time you're going to make mistakes. So then when I seen him in the paper, that's the conversation I remember straight away. And I know him from young, we're from the same estate and everything, but he's younger than me and everything, but that's the first thing that comes to my head. I remember you saying, I'm never coming off the road. Yeah. And I remember saying, that's because you've never been caught or had to go through anything like that. Because at a point in everybody's life, you get to a realization, something sparks it, or a number of things might spark it. So, but when I seen him, I just thought, man.
It's probably part of you that looked at him and thought, that could have been me again if I never changed my life. And when you're growing up or surrounded by people who have that mentality, it's quite easy to just keep fitting into that mold. It takes a stronger person to say, well, actually, you know what, you're wrong, because you used to get judged and used to have your rep as being a guy that was on the streets, ran the streets. And then for you to just turn around and say, well, that's not me anymore, that takes a big man to turn around and say that, especially with people that you grew up who had a certain view of you which you had to fill. Do you know what I mean? I think the thing that strikes me the most is when you were saying you were getting shot at and you were in a car and you were like gangster and like obviously you had this whole persona, you were doing it at 17. Like, I know that the way this generation is going now, like they're fearless anyway. Like they're a different type of fearless though, innit? Like they're more doing it for the Insta, doing it for the short-lived fame in it. But in your day, it was genuine on the street, knives, everything. But you were doing this at 17, and there's part of me that thinks you grew up fast, and that might have been down to the people that you were surrounded by, because you said rather than be around the people that were like my age doing their bush rounds, I was looking up to the people above me thinking, you know, I want a piece of that. And that can come from anywhere. That can come from your friends, that can come from even maybe just like your own home life as well, man. Having that person that you think, you know what, maybe outside of my family, this is a person that I can look up to and aspire to be like. But to do all of that at 17, man, jeez, I know, it's that's crazy.
I know. And you know the worst thing about it, because the headline of the paper was 17-year-old shot in the head. I'll never forget it. And I read it, I thought, even I forgot that I was 17. Because like, they couldn't put my name in the paper because I was a minor. You know what I mean? But I'm running around, I'm out here playing this gangster, I'm driving, I got my own, because I passed my test at 17 and everything. So I'm driving, I got my own car. And then I suddenly read that. It's 70-year-old shot in the head, and then a little bit on the mind, can't say the name because they're a minor. Oh, see, in society, I'm a minor. You know what I mean? I'm not even an adult yet. And this is what's happening to me. You know what I mean? But as I said, for me, I went down the road as an angry, now I've turned into an angry guy. Now I need like revenge and everything like that. But as I was saying, like, fast forward again, 2007, like, the law finally caught up with me. So I got locked up in 2007. I got a 2-year sentence, but obviously good behaviour and all that. I come out in 2008. So it was May 2007. I went in, and I came out, I think it was March, done like 8 months, something like that. March 2000, because it was March, because it was just before my birthday, because my birthday is end of March. But I come out and on tag for like 4.5 months, so I had to do my birthday on tag. But since then, 2008 the September, I enrolled at college and I done a carpentry course. And from there, I've just not stopped, bro. I've just not stopped since I come out. Luckily, when I came out as well, we're still on the same estate, but it was just in the middle of moving. Because my mum as well, she suffers from fibromyalgia, arthritis. And so fibromyalgia, it's not really heard of, but it is quite common. It's like a muscular pain.
I come from a science background, man. That stuff's, it's devastating, man.
It's not nice. And that was one of the things as well that was, I won't say driving me, but it's one of the reasons why I felt like I had to make money. You
know when it got to the stage where, because the way that obviously the way you went down is money then just became kind of just a thing. Like you could fill your fridge up, you could treat your mum, you could go out and buy the designer stuff, the jewelry, the gold. What was it after that was just like, because after a bit the money doesn't become the motivator because you're getting it so easy. What was it after that? Was it just the lifestyle? Was it being part of, I don't know, the family sort of like that you were doing? Was it the excitement? What was it? What was it after the money?
That's a good question, you know, to be honest. That is a good question, because I'm not actually sure. Maybe it's just that now it just becomes second nature.
Just a norm now.
It's just a norm, It's just become the norm now. So you just start living that life, don't you?
It's kind of like, I don't know, but maybe it's just a case of like, well, this is what's mapped out now, innit? So I'm just going to keep doing it because I wouldn't say you're comfortable. You can never be in a lifestyle like that and be comfortable, but you kind of, that's the road that you know you're going to go down, so you don't look elsewhere, innit? But
it's interesting you say that, but I've always had this thing in my mind, like, that ain't the only path for me. It's like 2007 is when I got locked up, so it would have been like 2006, maybe late 2005, I started my own courier business. And it sounds a bit like, I know, yeah. Well, it was a legitimate courier business. So, like, it's called BB Services or something like that. Yeah, BB Services. And, like, I built it from the ground up because that's what I was used to doing. So, in a funny way, like, my past life, because being on the road and being a drug dealer as such, you're basically a businessman. If you to make money, you have to be some sort of businessman. So it kind of puts you in a good stead, you know, when you're taking good out of bad. Do you know what I mean? Because there's always some good out of a bad situation. That's how I look on life. But yeah, I had a courier business, and I built that up. It was paying for itself. It was paying for the insurance. It was paying for the petrol, and it was putting a little bit of money in my pocket. And I had that up until I went to jail. And then when I went to jail, I obviously lost it, like, because, like, this is where we say all this passive income and everything when it comes to property. Like, with that, if I wasn't doing it, they never made no money. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, like, my brother and all that tried to do the odd thing, but it's not their thing, is it? It's not, they haven't built it. Man. Yeah, so it was my baby. So, like, I would get up and drive from Wolverhampton all the way down to Portsmouth and back. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, as I say, it was making money. It was paying its bills, and it was making a little bit of profit. Yeah. And I had that up until I went to jail, so I lost that as well. So I lost my business, and then that was it.
You know, when you came out of jail, obviously, like, after your 8 months, and one of the first things that you said was you went and did, like, a carpentry course, and you've not really stopped then. Did jail give you a bit of time to reflect on yourself? And how hard was it not to get sucked back into that life, man? Because it's easy just to go to jail, straight back out. You know how it's going to go down. You know how to build yourself back up. But you went the complete opposite direction, man.
I mean, it's very difficult, because that's what I was touching on. Like, when I came out, I moved back to the same area, but was in the position of getting a different part. I lived with my mum at the time, but it was like a maisonette type property. So there's stairs to get up to the front door, and then when you get in, the first level is like bathroom, bedroom, upstairs, living room, kitchen, bedroom. So, like, it's too many stairs for my mum. Obviously, you know fibromyalgia. Yeah. It's not a nice disease, as I say. I mean, I used to come home and I see my mum, like, stuck on the stairs, bro, in the house. Stuck on the stairs, and that was hard to see. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I felt like I needed to make money, to put money in there, be able to be the man of the house, as I say. Because my brother had left then, he'd had his son and everything, so he'd left home, he's raising his son and stuff with his missus. So, but coming out, and then not long after I came out, I think it was probably about August, or a few months later, we moved to the opposite side of town, into a little cul-de-sac thing. So it's far enough to people come and check, but not every day. Yeah. It's like once a week, maybe, and then it becomes once every 2 weeks, and then it's like once a month. So gradually, you naturally start to become drifted apart from it all. And I never had no car at one stage. I used to ride my bike to the gym, and so naturally you just become drifted apart from it. So going back to your question, did it give me time to reflect? Yes, because a lot of the time, I'd say lucky enough, I was in single cell. It was only a couple of times where I had to share. So I was in a single cell, so it's me, the four walls, and my thoughts, basically. So it gives you plenty of time to reflect. But I don't think I would have had that time if I was sharing all the time. Yeah, true. Because obviously then you're with someone else, you're just talking about probably on the road and what's on the telly and just stuff like that. When it's just you and your thoughts, then you get drifted off into your thoughts, and you start to think, hold on, that situation there, I'm thinking all these people are man them and down to do whatever for me, but that situation there, actually, where was they? Do you know what I mean? Who's coming to visit me now? It's all in my family, really. Where's all these people? Do you know what I mean? Where are all these man them who are down for you, do whatever for you, as they say in the music videos or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, where are all these people? And then you start to realise, actually, when it comes down to the nitty gritty and shit, it's the fan, let's say. There's only a small number of people who are actually going to be there for you.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it just makes you realise a lot of things, to be honest. It makes you realise a lot of things. And at the time, I never had no children. Touch you back to the start when I said I got 5 kids, like, you don't even know this, like. Well, I don't know if you do, but the older twins, they're not biologically my sons. So they're like my stepsons. But I came into their life. Funny enough, actually, the way, I'm not massively religious. I was brought up in the church. I do believe in the spirits and all that. But the way that the Lord and the spirits bring you together is crazy, because I went to jail in 2007, and my wife, she's now my wife, like, she had her sons in 2007 as well. So they're born March 2007, and I went to jail 2007. Wow. Hey, it's mad. She's massively into stuff like that as well, like numbers and
meant to be kind of
meant to be and all that. But yeah, so like, I came into her life, I think they're just turned 4 when I came. So like,
still babies.
Yeah. So like, I know people, when you ask them, say, how much kids you got? And then they say, I don't know, say their miss name, Lisa or something. Lisa's got 2 kids, and then we've got, and they're like, oh, okay. How long you been together? 15 years. Like 15 years, and you still say like, Lisa's got 2 kids, and then you, I don't know, it just doesn't work in my mind like that. You know what I mean? If you're there raising them, then I feel like when you say stuff like that, you're kind of separating.
Do you feel like, because your kids are still babies, man, like 13 years old, they're still kids. Obviously you had a different life at 13, innit? But do you look at them and think, I would never want you to go through what I went through, man?
100%.
It's weird when you look at it on a sort of like reflective sort of like mindset.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And like, I'm open and honest with them. They know about my past. They know what's happened to me in the past and what I've been through. So I believe if you're open and honest with them, it's like sometimes they show them things on the TV, on the news, where people have been stabbed and people have been killed and everything. Show them like, this is, because obviously we don't let them just hang out, go out just to hang out. And obviously being kids, they don't understand why. So I feel like showing them things, and then sometimes like where'd that happen? Like just down the road there. You know, we went past over there, just there. Like, really? I remember the one time that they was coming out of school and some kid must have got stabbed or something at school, and the school was trying to usher all the kids back in and lock down, there's police everywhere. And it shook them up a bit. But again, it was another reminder to say, that's why we don't want you just hanging out there. Because as I said earlier, when kids are just hanging, it's half the time it's boredom. It's boredom. But in my day, when boredom was like, I don't know, you start a fire or smash some glass up, smash up some buildings. Now it's because of the internet, I suppose, and people can say things about another group of people. Then you know, they just click on a location, find out where they are, and come straight there, and then it's into some mass people getting stabbed and stuff. But yeah, going back to it, bro, 100%. So now I just try and teach them what can be achieved with hard work and dedication. And I mean, we was talking earlier. This t-shirt's there.
I was gonna shout that.
Yeah, this is their design and everything about it. I mean, like Kratos is like
God
the god of strength or what. I don't really know. That's how you know it's not mine. But it's I mean, he's the god of, what is he? The god of strength?
God of War, I think. That's what he's from a game, innit? God of War. Kratos, the main guy, he's a beast. Like.
Yeah. And then they come up with that, and then strengthen the weak. Which just resonates a lot with me. So like, they actually come up with it probably a year or two.
It's class
in the making. But they've just been holding back, and then obviously during lockdown, it just pushed it, and so now they got their t-shirts.
Well, we'll have to get them to sponsor the show on that, man.
Yeah,
do an official one, man.
Yeah.
So you saying obviously when you come out of jail, 2007, one of the first things you did was like carpentry.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that, because you mentioned there briefly that you totally turned your life around in that respect. You sort of went down a more sort of educational, traditional, sort of like doing stuff for yourself rather than going back to your old life.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how that time was when you've come out.
Yeah, so it was 2008 I came out.
2008.
2008, so I came out in March, I think it was, and then and then the September, that's the year, the month you enroll in it. I enrolled in the carpentry course. I'd done that for 3 years. Can't even remember, man. It's that long ago, but I think it's 3 years. Yeah, got to level 3. Then I moved straight from level 3 carpentry into BTEC in construction and the built environment. Done that for 2 years. That's 5 years, yeah. And then I went straight from there into university, which then I went to university. I'd done a building surveying degree, but I was working at the time just before I started uni. So just before I finished the BTEC, I was actually working in youth work, and I was doing some support work, and that it's changed its name now. It used to be called the Challenge. I can't remember what it's called now, but it used to be called the Challenge. It's basically where you take some youngers away to like Wales or wherever it is. I forget the term of it. Everything that it's been so long ago, but you take them away. You do all the invention things, build crafts, speak to them, all that type of thing. Yeah, I remember I finished there on the Sunday, and then I started the job I'm in now on the Monday. But I was saying, just before I went into university, I got this job. So I remember it was the college, what are they called, lecturer at college teacher, lecturer, whatever. He sent out the email for the job, and I remember it said the job was for an apprentice carpenter. Now I'm like, I can't think, but I was like, I'm like 20, I'm like old, I'm not an apprentice. So when you're thinking of apprentice, you're thinking school leaver, right? So like, I'm looking at this job and I'm thinking, do I apply for this job or what? It's saying apprentice carpenter. I'm like, let's just apply. So I applied for the job. Lucky enough, I got the job. But on the interview, I was telling them that I'm just finishing my BTEC construction, and my next step is university. I'm one of them people. When I got a plan, that's the plan. You know what I mean? I'm sticking to my plan. So I'm like, although I'm being interviewed, I'm like, well, if I can't fit my uni in, I ain't coming to work for you, get it? So although I'm trying to get their job, I'm like, mate, if I can't go to uni, this ain't gonna work for me. So, yeah. But they was like, oh no, that's brilliant. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we should be able to sort something out for that. So I moved into that job, and then later in the year, I think I started that job August 2012.
Okay.
August 2012. So I've been there like 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. I think it was 20th of August, so nearly 8 years. I was there, yeah, nearly 8 years. Wow, 8 years, yeah. But so yeah, I started that job, but then because I became like a site, I sort of moved in. I went there straight away as an apprentice carpenter, let's say, but I sort of went straight with one of the finishing foremans, one of the finishing supervisors. So that's basically, we was doing like decent homes at the time, so we were doing kitchen and bathrooms, and like the finishing foreman is the one who goes around and makes sure it's all finished up to spec to get signed off by the client. So I was with him originally, just doing all that, supervising all that, and then I went quickly into the supervisory role. And why I went into the supervisory role, because the man I was with, he was like 60 odd at that time. And I remember he used to bend, because carpentry is a lot of bending down.
Yeah.
So he used to bend down, and then when he's getting up, man, mate, all sorts of noises. Bro. I remember one day I was standing behind him, I was thinking, nah.
It's going to retire, isn't it?
Not when I ain't making those noises when I'm 60. I'm not doing this till I'm 60 and end up making noises. So I'm like, I'm definitely going down the supervisory route and having my own, like, running my own programs and not having to be that one. Even though my knees and all that are a bit tricky sometimes now, but nothing like that. So I'm like, I'm not looking to be that 60-year-old man. I think he had 2 replacement knees, a replacement hip. Battering your body for these companies, and all that you get when you leave is like a thank you card for your services. And
little collection of
a little collection, a couple of chocolates and stuff. Man, I got 2 knees and a new hip for you, like, and this is what you had to give me. Bro. So I quickly I like carpentry and I don't mind doing it every now and again, but forget that.
How did you find your time? Because, and you probably reach out to more people than you think, especially, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, is because everyone follows nowadays anyway, the generation coming through, and your kids will probably be the same, whether it be school, college, uni, straight away, no gap. But how did you find sort of going back to uni as a more mature student, so going back a little bit older, and still having that drive as well to say, look, I'm only taking this job on if you let me go to uni because that's my plan. How did you find that? Because I didn't necessarily know about this until I looked at your WhatsApp picture about 3 times and I saw you like at graduation. And I was like, geez, what a guy, man. But
it's difficult at first. It's difficult at first because when you get there, you quickly realise half of these people they're like 18, just left school. But I would say nowadays there does seem to be a lot more mature. Especially because I had to go part-time. I was going to go full-time, but that would have been 2 days I would have had to take out of work. And work was like, because they paid for it and everything, so they was like, nah, we're not going to give you 2 days release because you're going to miss too much on site. For you to come, because while you're away, we're not going to give it someone to look after for a day or 2 and then you come back. So you'll still be having to run your programs but be at uni as well. So 2 days is too much. So we're only going to allow you the 1 day. And it actually even said to me, it was like the Friday when we were having the discussions, it actually even said to me, you got 2 options. You either go part-time and have 1 day release, or leave us, go full-time,
come back.
And when you finish, see if there's a job for you.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Not really a choice, is it?
But this is Friday. It's like, we need to know by Monday. This is like Friday afternoon.
Damn.
I'm like, what? So I went home, talk to the missus. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? And she's like, look, the difference between full-time and part-time is 3 years. So full-time course is 3 years. Part-time is 6. She's like, you can do it 6 years, but it'll fly. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's 1 day a week, not realising how much work goes into it. You got 1 day at uni, but then all the other days at home studying and everything. But and a school year is not a full year, is it?
No, it's
not. Like, what is it, like 8
It's
months?
like September to like May or something like that. It's not a full year.
It's not a full year, so it does go quickly. So it's like, obviously on the Monday morning, I'm like, okay, I'll go part-time. You guys pay for it. That saved me from having to have a university debt. So I'm like, okay. But that 6 years is tough, bro.
It's a killer. I don't know how you did it, because I only studied a master's part-time whilst I was working full-time and then studying, and all of it was distance learning, lectures online. But when I say that, I don't know how you did it, but when you have to make sacrifices, man, and you think to yourself every hour, if you're not doing something, it's like an hour wasted, isn't it? But like I said, Bob, when you have to spread out something when you're seeing everyone else do it in like 6 months to 8 months, and you're like, yo, I've got to spend years on this.
Because I was seeing people come and go, obviously. I was thinking, man, I'll never forget, I think it might have been 4 or 5 years in, I walked through the doors of uni, and I actually thought, I hate this place, bro. I've had enough of this place. I remember phoning the missus and thinking, yo, I've had enough. I've had enough, man. I've been here too long, I'm not getting anywhere. I've had enough. But that was just a wobbly moment I had at that
man.
time, and then obviously conversations with the missus and just giving my head a wobble. Just realise that, you know what, it's all part of the plan. It's just a journey you got to take to achieve.
You do need someone strong with you, man, in those moments, because for me, it was my dad, man. My dad just kept pushing me. I'd come home, I'm like, Dad, look, I'm doing night shifts, I'm doing work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got no time for nothing else. He's like, look, listen, just graft through, grind through. Yeah. And when you're done, you'll forget about all of this, isn't it? It's worth it. But bro, we haven't even touched on the main reason we're here. I know, yeah. So let's jump on to that, and then I got a few questions for you as well, man. So obviously, like I said, you kind of touched on it, and the audience will agree, man. You've always had this little bit of an entrepreneurial flair about you, innit? Maybe not being able to exercise it fully, but there's been something in the back of your mind that's been itching to get started, innit? Why was it property that took you down this route, man? And rather than other aspects, why was it you looked at property and you thought, well, you know what? I want to do a little bit of this. I think I can do it.
Well, as I say, I've always been into property of some sorts, hence taking the carpentry route, and like I've just always liked property. My job's property because I'm a site manager. We do refurbishments and everything, but I've always been into property. So then, like, you know what it's like. I'm on my Facebook and everything. Every minute these people keep popping up. Do you know what I mean? This passive income. You can make $5,000 a month just passive income. So I thought, all right, let's start looking at some of these things. I started to watch things on YouTube and started to take some of these things in, and then started to think, actually, because like all this rent to rent and essays, and I knew about HMOs, but I probably didn't realise that it was called HMOs. Yeah. I knew like there's a big house, loads of people live in the house, share rooms and everything. I didn't know it was called a HMO. Yeah. So all these things started to come new. I'm like, wow, there's like lots of different opportunities within property. Property's not just property. Like everyone goes up now, you buy a house, then you do it up maybe, and then rent it out, and you make your little money every month. The buy to let. That's all I really do. And then obviously, because of my background, like do property up, buy a property, just maybe run down, do it up, sell it on for more, flip. So it's like, so that's probably why it was always property. You kind of just maybe seeing them videos, as annoying they are sometimes, it probably just ignited that passion again.
It opens your mind a little bit, even though you know, like if I watch this, I know within about 30 seconds I'm going to get someone sell me a course at the end, innit? Or I've got to join a free webinar to know more in it. But I didn't know anything about rent to rent, what this serviced accommodation was. I didn't know about I knew about HMOs like you said, but I didn't know you could do a rent to rent HMO. You don't even have to buy the HMO, you can rent it off someone else. It is crazy. So in terms of like yourself, have you got a certain strategy that you have focused on? So you've seen all of these now. Where's your head at? What are you thinking in terms of like, okay, I want to do this or I want to do that?
Do you know what? Lockdown again, man. It sort of evolved during lockdown. To be honest, we were talking earlier, you asked me how much I've been doing. Probably not as much as I was supposed to, but because I focused on different things, we'll probably touch on that in a bit. But it's evolved in a sense where, because like HMOs and everything, and service accommodations, brilliant strategies and all that, but I don't think that's not my passion. I mean, like dealing with guests, and I do that every day at work, more or less. You know what I mean? And molding that, I don't know, the light bulb or the blinds or something. It's not really me. So, funny enough, another of these courses popping up was a development one. Okay. And it was like, because obviously everyone was trying to do their part during lockdown and everything. It's like, you could win the course if you just comment, like, share, whatever. So I did. And lucky enough, I won it.
No
so way. I'm like, okay. Maybe it's a sign. So right now, bro, although I'm still actively looking for like the HMOs and the rent-to-rents, I'm definitely going developments, bro. People might think, wow, that's a bit big to be jumping into developments, but when I think about it, that's me. That's my background. That's what I do at work. Yeah. I'm involved in £50 million refurbishments in Wolverhampton. You know what I mean? Development and stuff like that. That's me.
That's your bread and butter, isn't it? Without you realising it, man.
And obviously, I did the university degree, which was building surveying. So
that's amazing.
Calculating the GDV, the gross development values, and working out the residual land values and all that. That's what I learned.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'm not really using that side of things at the moment.
And you're a site manager as well, man. So when it comes to managing projects, when it comes to your own, it's going to come as second nature for you, man.
Second nature.
I think one thing that was humbling, we all met up in it at sort of like in January time, and you said you're in no rush to leave your job.
No.
You're in no rush to sort of quickly get a property. I need to get 6 SAs. I need to get 7 HMOs. Blah blah. Like you're in no rush because you're in it for the long term, and that's quite refreshing. What would you say to people that have been doing this? Because you've been in this about a yearish or so now. Yeah, you've been doing it sort of like on and off before that, but like seriously, sort of like last year or so.
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are still a year in the game, still haven't got a serviced accommodation unit, still haven't really mastered the rent to rent, still haven't done this, and they feel like inside that they're failing?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
My advice would be, don't measure your success on whether you've got a unit or a property of such, because you got to look at yourself and say, where was I at the start? When I started this journey, what did I know?
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know about rent to rents and service accommodations. So look at your success differently, not on whether you've got a unit that's producing £1,000 net profit a month. Look at how you've evolved and what you know now, what you can bring to the table, and what value you can add to somebody, even just by a conversation. I mean, you probably seen a lot of people, because you probably meet people from who just come and started, and then you meet them and speak to them 6 months, a year down the line. You're like, wow, this person's changed. This person is much more confident. They've obviously been studying the craft and the understanding everything about it, the calculations, even by the things that they're doing, they're getting out there, going on viewings and everything like that. Because like, to me, that's how you got to measure your success.
It's weird that you say that, because it's so true. So for like, you know, like for example, like newbies that just come to the group, and then 6 months later they're answering other newbies' questions. And it's just like, when you started, you were asking, okay, how do I assess a gold mine area? How do I do this? How do I do that? Now all of a sudden you've been doing it. Now you're sharing it with someone else. And you're right, man. You know what? The growth comes in you as an individual, not necessarily the results straight away. And that's what you got to remember. Results have to happen for you to show some sort of success. But as you mentioned, they don't have to happen straight away, especially if you're in it for the long run. I think one thing I always say is, be honest, man. How many people are reading books whilst they're in a full-time job? I would. Exactly. I joined the property world. Everyone's telling me to read books. I'm like, okay. That's like, you know, you're changing, isn't it? And like, even when you said, like, when you, during like lockdown and stuff, your to-do list was huge. It was huge. Bro, take it back 10 years, your to-do list would have been like, yo, what am I watching tonight? Who am I meeting up with? And then just like family
just
stuff.
Chilling, trying to go places where you shouldn't be going. But yeah, man, that's what I think.
That's a good perspective, man.
That's what I think.
So in terms of you moving forward now, are you looking at more refurbishment projects, or are you looking more big developments?
Moving forward, it'll be like refurbishment, so you flips and you BRRs, but development, man.
That's where you're at. Yeah, I remember, because specifically you asked a question to Shazad. And I didn't know at the time, innit? I was like, this doesn't sound like him, man. What is he planning? But it was to do with obviously developments, innit? But I think what I like about that is what's a lot of people starting out, because of that you don't need a lot of cash to get started. Rent to rent is a strategy. If you look at the bigger projects, you're not really competing with anyone in that sense, because as you get bigger and bigger in terms of the projects and the size of things that you're looking at, the less and less people are actually looking at it from that point of view. It's a good way to get in, man. But
I think obviously with developments, it's more of the fear of, how am I going to run the job? Who's going to be the project manager? Like, what if this goes wrong and that goes wrong? All those things, all those fears, let's say, I experience at work daily.
On a daily basis.
In construction, but if somebody tells you they're the program that ran perfect from start to finish, they're lying. It never, ever, ever goes smoothly. Something always goes wrong. Always. A delivery's late. Tradesman hasn't turned up. They put the door in the wrong place. And it's silly things happen. It's just finding the solution, not panicking when that happens, and then just getting it done.
bro, when you start your own refurb projects, you're going to be cool as a cucumber, man. Doesn't matter how much bridging you take out, doesn't matter how long the builders take, you're literally going to be on it from start to finish. And I think that's what's quite nice, is your background is already that. You're just taking your background and then just applying it to just like making your own wealth, making your own business. But speaking about business, you've actually been doing something else during lockdown, which I wanted to touch on briefly, and that is e-commerce. How have you found the sort of like e-commerce space, and what are you doing in e-commerce specifically, man?
Again, during lockdown, but again, it's back to those videos, because starting a new business was one of the things that was on the to-do list. So that stayed, that lasted the list. A lot of things got crossed off, but that lasted. So it's like, I need to have, you know what they say, multiple streams of income. So I thought, I need another income as well. Because you can't just rely on lockdown. Showed everybody that you cannot rely on the one income, because that can just get cut away. So these videos popping up again, I'm like, let's have a look at this. I know there's some people in the group who do that anyway. So I thought, let's look into this. And then again, researched it, looked into it, thought, actually, this stuff can work. So got into that, spoke to, I don't know if he minds me saying Harks, spoke to Harks, shout out to Harks. Yeah, he's a good guy. Gave me the time of day, we had a conversation, he just gave me a few tips and basically said, just go for it because it works. So I took on his advice and I started. E-commerce is a big, it's like let's say the father figure, the big picture of selling online. So basically what I do is I sell on Amazon at the moment. So I do it's called arbitrage. Basically, when you're shopping as normally online or retail, it's just, you have like an app, you scan the product, you see whether it's selling on Amazon, see if there's a price difference. Let's say something in the shop's £5, it's selling on Amazon for £20. Might sound crazy, but it actually does happen. And then obviously you'd buy as much as you can of that, clear off the shelf, and then send them into Amazon, and Amazon do the rest. They prep it for you, pack it for you when somebody buys it, send it to the customer. And then the beauty of it is they pay you every 2 weeks.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
They pay you every 2 weeks. So I've done pretty well. I started officially selling May, like middle of May. And like, what are we now, August? So it's just a few months. And I read a book one time. Actually, I don't know if it was a book or YouTube or something. It said that successful people don't mind speaking about money.
Yeah. So
like, since starting in May till now, I've done like over 13k of sales. Jeez. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh my days.
So it works, and I'm running that. That's in sales, but I would never have done that without. I wouldn't even know how to. Like, I can't open a shop and do that.
Yeah.
I can't open bricks and mortar and do that sort of thing. And I'm actually running at like. Last I checked and done the books, it was like, I think it was 34% net profit I was running at. Ooh. So yeah. And that's just in a couple of months, and I'm only scratching the surface, bro. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for it, man. I'm going to deep dive into that.
You know what's mad? It's kind of like with property in the same respect that property is just the overarching like term in it, but there's so many little mini things you can do with it. So I remember when, obviously when we were chatting off mic and I was asking you about e-commerce, I just automatically thought website, store, dropship. But then you're telling me like, yo, I can go to a store, I can scan something, I can see the price of it, and I'm realizing on Amazon it's triple the value. And then I was asking you like, well, why are the stores selling it so cheap? Surely there's something wrong. Then you're like, nah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
It's crazy.
Sometimes it's sale. A lot of time it's sale, but then there is certain products that are just cheaper in the shop. And Amazon said, I think what it is with Amazon, they've absolutely sealed the market for it. But I think what it is Prime.
Yeah.
People know they can sit, like me and you can sit here now and think, let's buy a pair of trainers, or I don't know, a new mic.
Yeah.
Go on Amazon, press it, and boom, it's here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Prime.
Yeah.
Rather than you'd have to go to the shop, get to the shop. Hopefully it's in the shop. For starters, you don't know if it's actually there. Search around. If it's not there, then you're thinking, shall I get a replacement or not? But I actually wanted that one.
Yeah.
It's just the hassle of it. So to cut the hassle out, people seem that they're happy to pay the extra for the prime.
Mad.
Which is good for me.
Exactly. One thing that I've noticed about yourself, boys, obviously you've mentioned like your family, you mentioned like your kids, you mentioned your work, you mentioned study.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that a lot of people asked, especially I've written it down, is how you manage to balance all of these things and also have the priority to have like enough family time, to have enough work time, and then have enough time to focus on your business as well. How are you balancing all of those, especially since your kids are like young as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Simple answer. I got a good wife. Nah, because funny enough, like one of the best man at my wedding, he was like, you know, in relationships now everyone's like, yeah, you gotta give 50-50.
Yeah.
Or this is talking, he say, yeah, you gotta give 50. And then he says, I disagree. I think, yeah, where's it going with this? Yeah, I'm thinking, what? This better one of the best man speeches, you know, get me in trouble. But it's like, sometimes you can't give you 50% and more. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're only running at 20. You know what I mean? So then it's up to the partner to step in and give that 80 to equal it out. Oh, that was a good speech, actually.
You recovered well there, innit?
Yeah, where did you Google that one? It was like, yeah, and I thought, but that's stayed with me ever since. I'm thinking, you know what, sometimes we all have them days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't going well. You're thinking, is this working? Is it worth it? Am I doing the right thing? But yeah, she just comes together and just balance it out, man. But in terms of me personally, to be honest, you just gotta get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's obstacles in your way. There'll always be obstacles in your way. You get overcome something else will happen. You know what I mean? Like there's always changing. Life's about changing. So, you know, my kids are growing up all the time as well, so they're changing. You know what I mean? The family dynamics will always be changing. But what can I do about it? You know what I mean? I can't do anything about it. That's my situation. So how can I make the best of my situation? I just try to make sure I'm there as a husband, a father. I'm giving my best at work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the main thing is just to show that there's different ways you can make a success of your life. There's different ways where if you dedicate yourself to something, you can make a success of it. Do you know what I mean?
I think what resonates huge with me, and you can sort of like correct me if I'm wrong, man, is like family forms like the core part of your life, innit? And it seems like anything else that stems out of the side of that, that's cool. But I'll never sacrifice my family stuff, man. Like even when you were saying, when we were talking about lockdown right at the beginning, you're like, I never had family time before, and I just thought, you know what, I got this whole to-do list, but I want to spend time with my family, kids, because I guess that's where a lot of your strength probably comes from as well, man.
100%, that's definitely where it comes from, and spot on, bro. Like, I mean, if I had nothing and they had everything, that'd be cool with me. I mean, I only need the basics.
I love
that. I mean, I only need the basics. Well, it's probably to do with what I've been through as well, my life's journey. Like, made me realise that actually those material things. Bro, you see my car, I drive a little 107 Peugeot, you know what I mean? I could have a nice car. One of my goals could be to buy this nice posh car and drive around in a posh car. I don't do any mileage to warrant having a posh car. You know what I mean? Unless I'm going to events and stuff. Generally, I'm at home, so I don't need a posh car. Yeah. But you only come to realise that through journeys, maybe mistakes that you've had through your life. But for me, if I had nothing and they had everything, that'd be cool with me, bro. Yeah. It's all about them.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like the fact that you still make time for as much as you can. Like you said, you can't change your situation if you've got to work late or you've got to stay at home. You're just trying to balance everything that you can in it, which is nice. Had a couple of questions come in, man, and then we'll wrap this up, man.
Let's go.
It's been amazing, man. One thing that I wanted to ask you from sort of like a personal point of view, do you ever think it's too late to start business, or to start property or to start doing something that pushes you out of your comfort zone? Because one thing that I noticed, especially with business, is it almost always feels like it's too late, because you get into the mindset of, I wish I started this in my 20s. And then you look at people in their 20s thinking, you're on the right path starting this now. But do you feel like it's ever too late, or do you think you can just start whenever you want, whenever you're ready?
You can start whenever you want. For me personally, because it's never too late. Do you know what I mean? If you start thinking like it's too late, then you're just admitting like, not failure as such, but then you're just being comfortable with what you got now and feeling like that's all you're worth. When for me, I always think that there's always more. You can always get more. And starting something new, who knows how much time you got? So
True.
You might be 30, 40, but you still might live for another 40 years, which is plenty of time to do anything. So for me, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Nah, I love that. I think you've demonstrated that in every part of your life, having to restart from the start so many times and then build yourself back up every time. Like I said, whether it be doing a carpentry course, whether it be, I only want this job if I'm going uni, otherwise I ain't taking it. And that's there's a lot of respect, man, and it takes a lot of courage to do that, so I appreciate that. Quick fire questions, bro. So, future business and property goals, man. What does the future hold for yourself over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Future, well, as long as property business, because you know what they say, you have to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
Can't rely on. I think everyone's realised that because of this pandemic, but even more so now. But for me, as long as I've got income streams that produce enough income for me to be able to have that time, freedom of time with my family, so I'll be able to spend my time however I see fit, which will naturally be with the family. Going on taking holidays when we want, not having to fill out my form and say, can I have this day off?
Annual leave.
Annual leave, you know what I mean? And then I gotta wait anxiously, is it gonna say yes or no? And somebody else already booked it off. Having that freedom. So I know it's always talks a lot about, especially in business, financial freedom, but that ain't the end goal for me. For me, the finances come with it. If you dedicate yourself to it, then it's going to be a success ultimately. So then the finances come with it. It's what you're going to do with them finances. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could get all the finances and create another massive to-do list and say I want to get 10 more properties or 100 properties. I've got 100, now I want 1,000 properties. But then you just stay busy. You know what I mean? So for me, the finance is to be able to have that quality time.
I like that. I think what's nice about it, you haven't stopped learning and growing. So you got your property kicking off on sort of like a back burner, sort of just there, sort of to feed as time goes on. No rush with that. You're doing your e-commerce stuff as well. You obviously got your job as well. So you're always doing multiple things. And like I said, if you've already got it in your head that you want multiple streams of income, I'm sure at some stage you'll learn trading. You come to me for that. I'm not a financial advisor. I'll teach what I can, man. And we can exchange skills and knowledge. Well, you can teach me about e-commerce and this arbitrage stuff, man. You might take a totally different look at my shopping trips, man. This is a good question that's come in, and it doesn't have to be property related. It could just be anything. It's a great question, got me thinking as well. What is your greatest fear?
Very good question. Biggest fear? Probably like, actually it's not probably, it's definitely for my kids to see me as a failure. So, you know, like having a business and making money, that's what we're all here for. Let's not sugarcoat it. We are here to make the money, but it's what you do with the money. But if I have successful business and my kids turn around to me one day and says, you failed us, that would be my biggest fear. That would be my biggest fear. So for me, what I try to do, I do for them, but I not only do it for them, I do it to teach them as well. So I know I touched on it earlier, but this is the boys' brand. This is their t-shirt and everything. They come up with everything themselves. So, you know, it's showing them and then watching them produce something like that, man. That's just amazing to me, bro. So my biggest fear would be to see them look at me as a failure, and then maybe for them to end up like the old Benjamin Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be getting into the wrong things and going down the wrong path. That would be my biggest fear.
I think what's nice is that they're going to grow up seeing you do all of these things, innit? I said a similar thing to Richie when she went through everything that she went in her life, do you remember? And then her kids are going to watch their mum become an entrepreneur, innit? And how you've just gone through everything that you went through, but now you've done all of these things. You still got, bro, you're not even getting started, man. Like the fire's burning, innit? Scratching the surface, man. And they're going to grow up seeing like, yo, my dad's made a bit of money doing e-commerce. I want to start a business. Oh, my dad's doing property. Why? And then they're going to grow up with that curiosity. And you get to be like their idol, man. The person that they look up to for guidance and stuff. And you're going to do an amazing job, man. The last question from myself, bro. If you could start over, let's just say from a property perspective, what would you do differently? Or what advice would you give yourself a year ago?
I'd probably master one specific strategy. I'd probably pick a specific strategy, master that. Once you master that, then start floating out into the other. Because I think it would happen naturally anyway.
It's kind of happened with yourself, because you started off not showing what you were going to do, just jumping into it, and it almost drove you to, without realising it, down this development route. It's kind of a tough one, isn't it? In terms of like a year ago, I think a year is probably too much of a short time frame, because you're kind of learning a lot in your first year or so. But I mean, in terms of back then, is there any sort of like things that you would probably spend a bit more time on that you've realised now are actually quite important?
In terms of property?
Yeah, in terms of property, yeah.
That's what's getting back to that point, is mastering it. So like with me, I'm the type of person, before I believe it will work, I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'll learn up to a certain point and I think, this works. And then I'll jump in. So I'd say continue to learn and master all the aspects of it, and then get in.
Yeah.
I think you do need to be doing it while you're learning, though.
100%.
Well, me personally, anyway. Because I think your biggest learnings and your biggest teachings come from making mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you do need to be, to some extent, actually doing it. But I think learning a strategy. So I'd pick one, which is hard to do because they're all appealing.
Yeah.
So they all work, they all make their cash flow, their money. Do you know what I mean? So it is hard to do. But I'll definitely say pick one, master it, learn everything about it. So then when you're speaking to people, you sound like the expert. You're coming across as the expert. And you do become an expert. Rather
than just sort of knowing just a little bit of everything, you know at least one strategy. And it helps you focus a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Bro, I just want to say, man, today's been an absolute pleasure, man. Just sort of like from myself, man, to summarise. Obviously, I've known you for, I don't know, it feels like a lot longer than I'm sure it probably is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot, man. People just pop up out of nowhere, and I probably popped up in your life, and you popped up in mine. I remember specifically one point where I was on a live, man, and you were commenting a lot. Yeah. This is going back before Christmas, man. And then we just started talking, man, and then obviously we met up at a few events and stuff as well. I think one of the first ones that we sort of met up was around sort of like October time. Yeah. But it's just you don't know the background and the history of what people have gone through. You can only sort of see when you meet them. But I remember when we obviously were sitting in a car from one of the events and we were coming back and you were telling me all of this, and I was just like, bro, your story is just incredible, man. And I think what's more humbling is two parts to it, man. Number one, that you're open and honest about it. It's a lot. It is very difficult, man, to openly talk about the things that now probably would make you upset, thinking about what you might have done or how you were, and then just openly admitting that, you know what, that was me, I made a mistake. But then to come and do a 360, bro, that's probably the hardest bit, because when you're telling me about your time in jail and you're telling me about how you've come out, that time in jail, you come out as a different person, man. And you could have just easily just got sucked back into that life. But there was something that was in you, man, that you said, you kind of touched on when you said you always knew that this wasn't the only path for me, innit? And it was just a case of maybe you couldn't see the light at the time. You were just in that moment, innit? But then to go from that to not being afraid to start a new course, not being afraid that, okay, I'm an apprentice and I'm a little bit older than the rest of the people. I'm at uni. It's going to take me 6 years of painful graft. And I know how you feel, man, because you're working, you got a family, and then you're doing this uni studying as well, man. It's a massive testament to you. And as well, I think what's more humbling than anything, and I'm sure like everyone watching this will see, man, is that you could have done all this stuff, man, but there's something about your wife and your family that just keep you motivated enough to just never give up, man. And then obviously like off camera and stuff when we have breaks and that, you're telling me about all these things that you want to do, man, like e-commerce. Showed me an e-commerce account, by the way, bro. When this camera's away, I'm sitting with you for another 3 hours and learning this, man. And you've got this fire in you, man. And if it's always been there, but maybe property was the thing that initiated it. Maybe it was something else, but you've just got this desire to want to learn as much as you can, do as much as you can. And like you said, man, your biggest motivator is your kids as well. As you said, man, you'd happily have nothing and they have everything, which is one of the drivers that you build everything for, man. So for me to be sat opposite you, bro, to hear your story and you be so open and honest, man, it's humbling from my point of view,
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
And like I said, bro, this meetup is long overdue, man.
I know.
We've been chatting on WhatsApp and everything, and this lockdown happens, and I was like, yo, as soon as it's lifted, you're coming down, man. We're having a catch up, man.
Definitely. Gotta do a part 2, man.
100%, man. I need to get cameras that record for a bit longer, really. We need to do a part 2 for sure.
I don't usually talk like this either. I don't know what it is. You're just a professional, bro.
Bro, this is the first time you're doing something like this as well, isn't it?
Very first time. Never been interviewed or podcast.
You're a natural, man. And the next time you're coming on, you're doing a bit of MCing, innit, from what I hear.
Nah. My wife told me don't do it.
That'll be the late night show, man. The after party rave, innit?
Yeah.
Bro, give me a cheers, man.
Yeah, bro.
I just want to say thank you for everything, man. And like I said, bro, is there any last like words that you want to sort of like end the show on?
Can I do a few plugs?
Of course you can, man.
As I say,
100%. I want to get me one of them, by the way.
Yeah, right. You're going to try and put the link in the bottom. Can you do that?
100%, man. I'll put the link in the description for everything,
obviously,
man.
this is Kratos Clothing. This is my son's clothing brand. So they're 13 years old and they're starting their entrepreneurial life. Yeah. So if you can support that. Also, my wife, she launched a product as well. It's called Crementum Hair Growth Oil. Don't watch that. I'm bold.
That's why we're bringing you back on the show, isn't it?
Yeah. Bring me back like
6 months.
6 months time and see if these parts grow. Because that's where I struggle. But yeah, I am using it, so I am the guinea pig. I've been forced to. Nah, not really. But I am the guinea pig. But yeah, and obviously shout out to you, bro. Giving me this platform and letting me be able to tell my story and feel comfortable in saying it, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, and you know this yourself, man. Anyone that's ever met you, you're like the coolest, nicest guy that we've ever met, man. Legit. And then, like I said, man, you're humble in everything that you do, man. You're out there helping people. You're giving advice, man. You're reaching out. You're connecting. Bro, you walk into a room now, everyone knows you, man. Yeah. You suave glasses. You ain't wearing them today, man. What's going on? But
I want people to see me, see the eyes.
But now, man. But yeah, bro, I wanted to thank you again for coming on, man. And like I said, for sure, this is not the end, man. We're doing a part 2. And like I said, for anyone that wants to sort of like have more information, especially on like the clothing brand and obviously like your wife's sort of like hair growth stuff. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people in property after the last lockdown and needing that hair growth stuff, man. It's been stressful. I'll put links to everything in the description, man.
Thanks.
No worries. But guys, until next time, peace out.
Peace.